Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. So today, it's all about, again, tariff, and what's going to actually happen. And really, it comes down to April 2nd. And again, I still look at the markets, and I will remain steadfast in this. I look at the markets, and they just seem to me to be quite irrational. And scared money don't make money. And that's really what it comes down to, because people are flipping out over what's happening. So hopefully today we can shed a little light on what's going on. So first things first, there was a great interview with Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, and he was on Fox News, and he talks about the tariffs and what is coming down the pipe. And coincidentally, if you guys don't know who Lutnick is, before his move into the government, and actually currently he is the chair of Cantor Fitzgerald. We talked about this, I think, a couple of days ago, where Cantor Fitzgerald launches a $2 billion Bitcoin financing initiative. And this was announced, just yesterday. It begins operations with $2 billion initial financial planning to expand significantly over time. So this first $2 billion is in Bitcoin is just the initial investment. And Howard Lutnick states, Cantor Fitzgerald arranges and finances vast amounts of securities and commodities, and is a strong supporter of Bitcoin. Let me say that again. As a strong supporters of Bitcoin, we will now build an incredible platform to support Bitcoin investors' financing needs. We're excited to help unlock Bitcoin's full potential and continue bridging the gap between traditional finance and digital assets. Of course, this company, you don't know, founded in 1945, employs over 12,000 people, operates globally, fixed income trading asset management, and also they got a 5% hold in Tether, where they hold a 5% staking value of $600 million. And serve as the primary custodian for Tether's multi-billion reserves. Why did I talk about all that? I wanted to put that into context as to the gentleman who is in charge for commerce and what he is talking about as far as tariffs go. So this is a gentleman who has a heavy interest in Bitcoin and what is going on behind the scenes. Now, some may say that's kind of icky that we got somebody in the White House with such exuberance for Bitcoin, and we'll see where it all lays. But I think the big thing we have to get over is the hump, which is tariffs. So this is about a minute or so. I want everybody to listen to this and just see where it goes, because if there's one thing that's freaking everybody out, it is tariff. And this kind of cleared all up for me. Let me make sure you can actually hear this. This is about 50 seconds or so. Just take a listen.
The world, and he's not going to let someone push him around. You know, the right answer is, if you take a step back, what does the president want? He wants to worry about major things for national security of America. Steel and aluminum tariffs, that's today, right? Autos coming April 2nd. Semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, things that America must have. So you can imagine these are the kind of tariffs we're going to make sure these things come back to America and are built in America. And then on April 2nd, he does his reciprocal tariffs, which basically say to all the countries in the world, come on, you treat us a certain way, we'll treat you the same way. Let's make it fair. You want them high, they'll be high like they are now. You want them low, they'll be low, but let's treat each other fairly. And that's where we're going. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward.
Let's go back to that 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports coming into America. What will it take to get those tariffs removed, the 25% steel and aluminum?
And he actually does answer that, but that is outside the scope of this video. I don't want to go too deep into it. So I linked this entire episode in the description. You can check that out. So again, when the markets are a little bit irrational about what's happening and they're worried about what could potentially happen, and they have this worry in the back of their heads, of course, then we see a lot of different price action to the negative side. And we saw that with our markets. We saw that with traditional markets, especially on Monday, going to today, which is Thursday. And we can see that the markets themselves, they don't know really what's going on. They don't like any kind of ambiguity. And this is one of those things. But I think with that, if we can just get through April 2nd and go, okay, this is what we have here on this side for this nation, for these countries. They want to have a high tariff. Fine, we'll raise the tariffs. Oh, you don't want to have a high tariff? You want to play ball? Fine, we'll lower the tariffs. And I think if we can just get there to that point in time, maybe it will be a good thing. But that's just one part. Because if we're talking about tariffs, that of course is great for global economy, but there's another aspect to that, and of course that is war. And unfortunately, very unfortunately, we have what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. Now, I am not a geopolitical expert. I don't claim to be, I don't want to be. But when I hear about these things going on, maybe we can resolve this about what's happening as a ceasefire comes into play. Now, Putin has not come to the table and said that he totally agrees, but I want you to listen to this as well. This is about 45 seconds or so, because if we can get tariff under control, and then we can get a real ceasefire under control for Ukraine, what will the markets do? Not to mention how great it is to not have a war and people dying. I think that's a even bigger issue. So listen to this. This just came out about 45 minutes ago.
To get this war over with, and you'll be back to a normal, much more normal life. And maybe we're close. We're getting words that things are going okay in Russia, and it doesn't mean anything until we hear what the final outcome is. But they have very serious discussions going on right now with President Putin and others, and hopefully they all want to end this nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's a horrible thing. When you look, I get pictures every week. They give me the pictures of the battlefield, which I almost don't want to see. It's so horrible to see young people laying arms and legs and heads laying all over the field. It's the most terrible thing that you'll ever see. And it's got to stop. These are young people with mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends. And it's got to stop. So
I think I let that run too long. But essentially what's going on is hopefully Putin come to the table and we can this can actually be a ceasefire and we can actually move forward. So again, there's 2 of the 3 things that I think could really help out the markets, not to mention saving people's lives. Tariff, ceasefire with Ukraine and Russia. And the last thing, of course, is the big part, which is, I personally think, is just macro environment and what's happening. And we actually were talking today, me, Ben, and Guy on the NFA Live, which was this morning. We'll check that out. But we talked briefly about the initial jobless claims. Today is Thursday, March 13th. But I mean, the big thing is about inflation. And that is what Jay Powell he's going for, that 2% goal. Let's see if he gets there. But there is some good news, which is, yesterday, the core CPI came out year over year, and it was supposed to be at 3.2, and it hit 3.1, which means it is going down. Inflation is going down, and that's what we want to see. Now, it's not at that beautiful level they want, but overall the trend, inflation going down. Now, if it was going up, I think we'd have a lot more problems. There have been a lot bigger slide in the traditional and crypto markets, but it's not. Also, the precursor to the CPI, the consumer price index, is PPI, producer price index, and that's flat. Last time it was 0.4%. The expectation was 0.3%, and now it's 0%. So it hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down. It's been pretty much flat, although core PPI has come down. 0.3 was previous. The expectations was it wasn't going to move. It actually did go down, 0.2%. So that's great. That's great news. Everybody's happy. We've got, again, tariff for April 2nd, ceasefire in the works, maybe a little bit of reduction of inflation. Maybe we get some kind of rate cuts. Who knows when? And that's good for everybody. But what do you do about that? Well, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that as I'm looking at these risk levels, stealing Ben's information, I can tell you that for me, I've been buying heavily Bitcoin. And I think, I've said this a couple days now, 3 days, 4 days, that when it's in around 70,000, 8,000, anything below right now, 100,000, I'm feeling reasonably good about it. And I take a look at the risk levels. Again, I said once we hit around, below 0.5, I was trying to wait for 0.45, but I kept missing the 75,000 or 77,000. I was like, this is close enough. So the risk levels themselves, 0.47, that's pretty low. And that gives us 80,000, even though today we did hit 79,000. I think 78,000 on some certain exchanges. You could have seen that. So this is a buy for me. And again, I just look at the markets and it baffles me. There's been no real big changes in Bitcoin or altcoins per se. There's been no hacks. There's been no hard forks. There's been no double spends. There's been no nation states banning it, China. And it just doesn't make sense to me right now to not buy. Anyhow, so that's it for that piece. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And then also, I have to make a correction here. This was I made a tweet today, and I said as a joke, there was an article about how a trader, they were moving USDT from USDC to USDT, And during that swap, they lost $215,000. They were moving like $225,000. And during the swap, because of this MEP, maximum extraction value hack that they did, they lost, over 90% of it. And I said, this is not the future of stable coins, but there's a twist to this. Here's what's happening. So like I said, trader gets sandwich attack and stablecoin swap, loses 215K. Data from Ethereum Block Explorer shows the MEV, maximum extractable value attack, occurred on the decentralized exchange, the DEX Uniswap, the USDC to USDT liquidity pool, where 19.8 million worth of value is locked. It doesn't seem that much. Only 20 million. It's weird. The MEV bot ran the transaction by swapping all the USDC liquidity out of the pool and then put it back in after the transaction was executed. I read that like 3 times and it still doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe you guys can help me in the comment section. Anyhow, the attacker tipped Ethereum block builder Bob the Builder.eth, okay, 200,000 from the 220,000 swap and profited $8,000 themselves. So I was reading that and I'm like, okay, the guy lost his money from a swap. That's all I got to me. But there's a twist. DeFi researcher DeFi AC speculates the same trader using different wallets has fallen victim to a total of 6 sandwich attacks, citing internal tools. You don't just fall victim to sandwich attacks 6 times. They pointed out that all the funds travel from borrowing and lending protocol Aave before being deposited on Uniswap. And others said that it was just simple money laundering. And this is how they did it. If you have illicit funds, you can construct a very MEV-able transaction, then privately send it to the bot that was screwing you over and have the arbitrum in the middle or in the bundle. That way you wash all the money with close to 0 losses. So essentially you set it up to make it look like you lost it to go to some random wallet, and it's your wallet that you control. And you're like, whoa, I got hacked, and I guess I can't report that, but it's just money laundering. When utilizing initially crystallized Uniswap, Nadal later acknowledged that the transactions didn't come from Uniswap's front end, which is MEV protection and default slippage setting. So sorry about that little joke. And that's what the reality is. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. We're going to talk about it's time sensitive. Now, I'm going to wait for everybody to do the Q&A. Ask your questions right now. And as you ask your questions, I want you to take a look. There is this documentary I found. I've been wanting to talk about this for like 3 days straight. So put in your questions in the comment section. I'll answer all those as I can get to them. But I want you to watch this trailer. It's like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes long. It's called No More Inflation. Well, let me make sure you can hear this. Present. And then as I'm rolling this in the background, you guys can ask questions. And the link to the whole video is in the description. They didn't pay me for this. It's $10 if you want to stream it. But it looked pretty cool. And remember, this is what I always say. When people ask me, why do you buy Bitcoin? Why do you get into that? That's so dumb. And that's not a very great thing to get into. I don't even argue with people anymore. I just ask them one simple question. Where does inflation come from? And if they can answer that, which nobody so far that I've asked all my friends and family has ever got it right, I just say, okay, then you don't know what you're talking about. So and the next thing you can say is go watch this and just send them a link. And then you don't have to do all the work. Check this out.
My grandparents, they could own a house and a summer house, have a car, 3 kids, and save money for the future on one income.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to afford a house. I don't know how I'm going to be able to put food on the table for my family because of the rising costs.
Inflation equals great depression or like great anxiety.
I don't believe inflation is going to stop.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's a treat. But the next day, it's just breakfast.
Remember when you went out with only 5 pesos in your wallet?
Now, 1,000 pesos wouldn't buy 2 cartons of yogurt.
You end up begging for the government to provide you assistance.
It's so hard to find food, even if you have the money.
Inflation, it is like a fight in a war.
Hyperinflation is the cause of all of the major totalitarian regime development historically.
Out of the 237 fiat currencies, there has never been a single one that didn't die an early death in hyperinflation.
Civilizations have experienced this throughout time. It happens over and over again.
We are likely to have hyperinflation.
It's just a matter of when is it coming.
The only reason why things get more expensive is because money is being printed.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. As a central bank, we have the ability to create money.
And then government spends that money.
Why would anybody do that to give government the economic power to enforce what they believe is right, which seems to be infinite wars?
We as a species devote enormous amounts of money to funding warfare.
You could not produce what the U.S. military-industrial complex produces if you didn't have the ability to print money.
To me, that's a horrific and disgusting aberration of human behavior, and I believe we can actually stop that from happening with Bitcoin.
People do not understand how profound this technology is by separating state and money.
Without the success of Bitcoin, financing war will continue, posing an existential threat to the entire species. The stakes are that high.
Yeah, so if you want to explain that to all your friends and family as you ask them a question, go right ahead. Or you just say, hey, there's this great documentary. Just check this out. And if you pay $10, you get 3 uses. So I'm just saying, maybe you can just give it to your friends instead of having to waste your breath. That's it for today. Okay, so now let's get on the Q&A because I see a couple questions and we'll go from there. And then, yes, the links in the description. Let's see. A lot of funny comments, I'll tell you that. Unity Warrior's got a good point, or a good question. I am not believing in the cycles anymore. After this cycle, I believe in the macro way more than what we have right now. What do you think, Rob? You can go that route. So far, though, the 4-year cycles have proven true. I know people say, what are you talking about? We just collapsed. We just had this major pullback. As a reminder, we've had multiple pullbacks in 2017, in the bull run year. We had multiple pullbacks in 2021. Now, I will say some have been a little bit quicker and more brutal than others. That's true. However, the year is not over. And I still say that it is intact. However, having said that, and this will piggyback on what I said yesterday, I still say we're in a bearish sentiment type of market. And people will say, well, so now you're saying the bear market? I got to wait 4 more years? That's not what I'm saying. Watch the video from yesterday. It was the same thing that we went through in 2021 when we took a massive dump in April of 2021 to write it back up to November 2021. But cycles are still intact. We'll see what happens. And some people say that, why are the 4-year cycles? Why are they intact? Some people say they don't have anything to do with anything. But even people say, like, even the halving, which happens every 4 years, has nothing to do with the value of Bitcoin. I disagree. I mean, but I'm just wasting my breath because it really doesn't matter. It's just my thoughts. But I mean, you know, you put something in half, you have half the amount that's available. So you have more of it. It's not even scarcity. It's not scarce. Bitcoin isn't scarce. It's not. It's finite. There's a big difference. I can find gold on an asteroid if I have the right equipment. But there's that. And then some people have also brought up about the 4-year debt cycles from different centralized banks or central banks. And that's another theory that we could actually explore at some point. So, but macro will make an effect. And I will say, I will concede the point that if we started a major recession, not just like a little goofy recession like we had in 2020, like a real recession, you know, something like 2007, 8, and 9, the Great Recession, something like that. We're not hitting all-time highs in the crypto market. That's just the truth. Let's see. You're starting with Plato. My bank account is finite, and money is definitely scarce. So, mine too. Valley says sell. That's also an option. You really got 3 options: sell, buy, do nothing. Pretty much. Let's see. See you in 4 years. I don't think we're there yet. Yeah. And that's another thing. I still believe in the 4-year cycle, not adamant it will last forever. You know, 4-year cycles work until they don't. And we will see. And Hudson 10 says 100% mini bear market right now. I got to agree. Dubsky says, hey, Rob, are you buying Sweet? Yes. Are you mentioning that NFA Live here today? Yes. That's one of them. and we'll see if it makes it. Maybe it'll collapse. I don't know. But it's always heavy Bitcoin right now. And people say, well, why do you buy Bitcoin? Because, the market cap is so high and so on and so forth. You get to a point where you just want to de-risk yourself. You just go, well, I mean, Sui could do well. Ethereum might do something. Cardano could do great. Solana could still, rally massively. Or maybe like Tau or something could make a huge run. But at some point, you just think to yourself, I just want to go for a safer play. And I've done all the risks that I've wanted to do before. So, yeah. And Dad states everything works until it doesn't, right? This is true. Just like Jim Cramer. D-Fly, did you ever get your funds back from Voyager? I got some funds back like everybody else, but not the whole thing. Sucks. That's just the way it is. Same thing with Celsius. Now, FTX, I used FTX, but I never kept it there. I learned my lesson. And when that collapsed, there it was. It's a funny thing. Like I should have just taken everything off. I didn't. Actually, I learned my lesson after Celsius. Then I started to really take things off of the exchanges. But I never really liked FTX. I just didn't really like the interface. The user interface sucked. Probably listen to Jimi Hendrix. Yes. Who doesn't? Let's see. Got all back from BlockFi. Hey, it's pretty good, Daddy. Very nice. Yo, Daddy. It's funny. The only pragmatic podcast on YouTube. Nah, there's some good people out there. But you know what? I will say this. Everybody in the YouTube sphere of, the crypto YouTubers, I don't want everybody to be like pragmatic and calm. I want some people to be a little hypey and a little bit more hopium and copium. You know why? Because that's what keeps people around. Some people resonate with my message. Some people resonate with XYZ person. Some people resonate with Guy. Some people resonate with Ben. Some people resonate with Tom. Some people resonate with James. And the list goes on and on. So I don't want everybody to be like me. I want people to stick around. I want people to not be so scared and just know that if they stick around, good things will happen. Yeah, real hope. I give some room. Gas fee is always funny. Ro Jogan. Hey, Rob, did you claim your stocks in the Celsius mining venture? No, I haven't even looked at that. I get so flustered when I take a look at that Ionic Digital, whatever that thing is. I just delete every single one that I've gotten so far. I know I should probably get into that, but it's just like I get so many scams that especially me, I get so many scams every day. I'm just afraid I just don't want to click anything. So if I'm going to give up some stock in whatever that worthless mining venture is that they tried to do, and I'm not saying it's like totally worthless, but it's probably near worthless, I'm guessing. I don't really care. I will just, if I can get it, I'll just donate it. Hey, Rob, do you hold or intend to hold Hedera? Yes. I have 60K. What can I do? Thoughts? Do you have any credit card bills? Might be something. I don't know. I know that what I would, if I had 60K, I'd put, 80 to 90% of that in Bitcoin. Actually, that's not true. I wouldn't. I would put a little bit less, maybe 75% into Bitcoin, maybe 10 or so percent into some alts, something that I like. And then the rest, I would just sit on it because I don't know where things are going to go. If they go down, hey, I made a great play. And I can just start buying more as it goes down. Or if some other business deal comes up or some great property comes into play. Great, I got 10% I can put down on that. Turn into a long or short-term rental. Everything's good. Ed's got a good question. How are the top indicators looking? It's a damn good question. I have no idea. Let's take a look. So again, no more inflation. Buy it for yourself, watch it, and you get 3 uses, and you can send it to 2 of the people. Like I can send it both to my idiotic brothers, but they won't watch it. That's okay. Let's see. And the CRYPTOVERSE. Let's take a look at a summary, shall we? CRYPTOVERSE gonna get, that's why I like this. Check this out. Well, before I get to that, let's go to the macro recession risk indicators. What is the risk for recession? Well, interest rates is the big guy, the big elephant in the room. And of course, this is the spread across them. But if we take a look at like industrial production, I didn't know this even existed. That's pretty cool. Total business inventories, real manufacturing and trade, GDP, real GDP, GDI, import of goods and services, everything's low, low, low. Unemployment rates are low. Job openings are high. I mean, as far as like the levels go, but job quits, initial claims, nice. Just those pesky interest rates. We'll see. Especially when the inverse versus uninversion. Usually when almost every single time they've uninverted, they've gone to recession, but not this time. We'll see. Crypto risk indicators, different story. As far as like a good time to buy, this would be kind of it, I think. I mean, not like the ultimate, but you can see we break it down. I don't do this. Ben does this. Social metrics. This is the people that are watching YouTube views. Although I gotta tell you, like I think my views are up. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Twitter followers for exchanges, layer ones, analysts. It's pretty low. So there's that piece. And then on-chain risk, these are the ones I like to look at. 12 multiples right in the dang middle. MVRV, market value versus realized value, 0.56. And then MVRV with the Z-score, which kind of cuts out the noise, is at 0.4. I did not know that. That's pretty low. That's a time maybe you want to think about buying. That's really low. Transaction fees are low. Terminal price, market cap, thermal cap. And this other one here is the price, just straight up price metrics. Risk level we took a look at. Total market cap is 0. That's low. 0.45. It's a below 0.5. Usually when you take a look at these, and here, I'll just blow this up. You can see in like the 2013s times, what are we looking at here? Anything above, to me, anything above 0.8 is kind of an indicator to maybe start looking at profits pretty heavily. Although the last high, we didn't hit that. March of 2024. Actually, even here in December when Bitcoin was 104,000, we were only at 0.65. So right now we're at 0.47. So across the board, pretty low, Ed. Yeah, reasonable price to buy. But again, if you're waiting for like to come down here, you can. I mean, a Bitcoin risk level of 0.3 would be really nice. But what would that price be? Well, we'll see. And of course, these will change as price fluctuates over time. But a Bitcoin price at 0.3, not to say that would actually happen, but if it did, you're looking at a price of 49,000. Stranger things have happened. I still see we have a floor of around 69,000. That's just because of the thing we talk about as far as election day price action. And we've talked about it before. So my bottom case is 69K. Actually, I really should give you a range. My bottom case is anywhere from $1 to 70,000. We'll say that. Okay. How did the Rusty bot? How did the Ripple versus SEC closed domains go today? I'm not for sure. Hopefully they dismiss that case and everybody can move on with their lives. Yeah, you want to ask my friend Bobby? My friend Bobby, if you had gave him 60K, again, degenerate gambler, horrible person. Real funny at the bars, though. He would say 10%, 15, maybe 20% Bitcoin, and the rest would be not even the top 20 altcoins. It would just be gambling straight up. Whatever the new hype is, just get into that for like 2 hours and then get out. That's Bobby, though. He's a funny guy. Oleg Star. When you say Bitcoin never falls below election day price, does that include wicks or only closes? In which case is that daily or weekly closes? So that's, we can take a look at wicks, because wicks have gone down. I think in 2021 we did a flash crash, like, so we can't really talk about that. But no, I'm talking about for daily closes, for whatever that is. But yeah, and again, you can take a look at multiple different exchanges for prices. But what was it for 2016? Oh, for Joe Biden when he was elected, the price was around 14,774. That was in. Oh, is that right? Now I gotta get the thing out. $14,000. And election. I should really save this. Make this way easier to find. And that. Yeah, it was 2020. What I saying? Oh, I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking beforehand. But yeah, you can see how we've never gone below those prices. So we'll see. But that doesn't mean anything. Just what we got right now. Peter says, Rob, will Josh be on your show tomorrow? No. So you're talking about Josh with minutes. I know this is, Peter, this is a big thing for you, so hold on. I do have him at 10 o'clock tomorrow for a recorded meeting. And then I have David from Coin Ledger at noon. So he's not going to be on the show tomorrow, but I will interview him. And we'll probably put it out within 24 hours. So we can see what you want. Do you have a question for him, Pierre? Put it in the comment section. I'll ask him. True. Ripple is American champagne. This is in accordance with this just came out today over on Truth Social. I thought it was funny. That speaking of tariff. Trump put this out. The EU, one of the most hostile and abusive taxing and tariffing authorities in the world, debatable, but okay, which was formed for the sole purpose of taking advantage of the United States. Okay, I can see that. Has just put a nasty 50% tariff on whiskey. If this, that's kind of weird. If this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU represented countries. This would be great for the wine and champagne businesses in the U.S. Apparently, this was told to me, is that you can't call it champagne because it's only for a region in France. Correct me in the comment section, but it's sparkling wine is the term. And I said, hey, fine, I got no problems buying wine from California, and I have no problems buying Keystone Light either if I don't have any wine. So whatever. Oh, don't boo me for drinking Keystone Light. It's a fantastic, full-bodied, dirt cheap beer. Anyhow, but yeah, we'll see what happens. What else we have? I hope we stay down until Q3. I can see that. I can see that for the self-interest of accumulating more. Nothing wrong with doing that. Buying the dumps that keep dumping is so not fun. Exactly. We buy the dips until we're all dipped out. That's why sometimes when we see these big dips, sometimes I come on the show and just go, just don't do anything. Just watch it go down. And then that's it. Then go outside and touch sand, grass, dirt, snow, whatever it is. Verhoofty, who TF drinks light beer? Me. Also drink a little Medalla here in Puerto Rico. It's everywhere. The great. It's not from Champagne Radius. It's not. Might as well drink Pabst. Is it on sale? All right. I'll do that too. All right, so that's it. Okay, so as the rest of the comments have digressed into alcoholism and talking about, that's fine. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna go do some charity work over at the local dog shelter here in Puerto Rico. So I gotta get out. Anyhow, that's it for tonight. So everybody, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. I'm going to talk about is time sensitive. That's it for this one. So again, don't worry so much about the markets. I still see them as very irrational. Make that play as you see fit, but just hang in there. I think better things are due to come. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. See you in the next one. Adios.